Dana White finally addresses the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson situation and whether the UFC will pay him.
So how that works is guys don't just get paid to not fight. It's not how that works.
Cory Sandhagen reveals why he was predominantly wrestling against Rob Font.
Like having an infection in your elbow can sometimes like weaken the joint and weaken stuff in there. So I'm assuming that that's why, the tricep tore that easy, is because I don't recall any specific thing that like was so intense in that first round where it would tear like that.
And Sugar Sean O'Malley trolls Alajmain Sterling.
So yeah, for me, having fat ass dinners a couple weeks out, I guarantee he's not having those. And if he is, it's just going to make his weight cut that much worse. And then you see that 94 sleep score. Jesus, I was sleeping good. And I know he's not sleeping as good as I am. So, maybe a little mental warfare there, but really just kind of let him know that I'm fucking sleeping and eating great.
All that and more, let's check it out. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson had a sit down with Ariel Helwani last week where he told Ariel that he was hoping that the UFC would do right by him and pay him at least his show money for making weight and doing everything he was supposed to do in his fight with Michel Pereira.
At this point, my management is talking with the UFC. Nothing yet. I know Dana White's on vacation. That guy's the workaholic, so well deserved. But I feel like the UFC is going to do right by me. I've done everything that I'm supposed to do.
Michel Pereira missed weight by roughly 4 pounds. Stephen Thompson elected to not fight him, as previously he had fought Darren Till, and Till missed weight, and that's a fight that Stephen did lose.
I've tried to be as honorable as possible when it comes to signing my contracts and abiding by it and doing what the UFC has said, and and I've done what they wanted of me.
Though Thompson told Ariel he thinks that the UFC will do right by him, you can tell by his tone and his demeanor that he does not believe he will at least receive all of his money that he's earned for showing up and making the weight. I personally believe that if you make weight, you do everything correct, and your opponent does not do everything correct, they should be disqualified, and you should receive the show money that you are entitled to, as you did show up and meet all the criteria for the fight.
Will you be disappointed if it stays that way?
100%. 100%. Yes, sir. I'll be disappointed. I don't, who wouldn't be, right?
Thompson should not be penalized for another fighter's actions that he cannot control. I do not believe that the UFC will pay the full amount to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Dana White is finally asked by the media about the Wonderboy situation, and he addresses it, and he doesn't sound much too happy with Wonderboy's decision to not fight Michel Pereira for only being 3 pounds over. I don't believe that Wonderboy should be penalized for Pereira's mistakes and not keeping track of his weight correctly.
So how that works is guys don't just get paid to not fight. It's not how that works. Guys have been paid. We've taken care of guys. Hey, listen, if you come in and you're making short money, we take care of you. You come in and you don't fight. First of all, you decided not to fight. The guy was 3 pounds overweight, whatever it was. You get a piece of his purse if you take the fight. But if you decide you don't want to take the fight, we also offered him another fight. There's a much bigger story behind the scenes. And no, you don't just show up and say, yeah, I'm not going to fight. I want $250,000. It's not the way it works. It hasn't worked that way for anybody. So what we do is we try to get you another fight. We try to turn you around quickly. If you don't turn around quickly, then we try to figure out, well, what did it cost for your camp? We'll reimburse you. There's a lot of different ways that this gets worked out.
The options that Dana White lays out to the media that Wonderboy had don't seem that great to me. First, he says he should have just fought him. He was only 3 pounds over, but those 3 pounds are typically the hardest to cut. Pereira would have a higher advantage during the fight because he didn't have to deplete himself as bad and would be able to rehydrate even more. Dana White also tells media that Wonderboy would be receiving a portion of Michel Pereira's purse, but that still doesn't take away the fact that if he lost on his record, it would show that Wonderboy lost to Michel, and it wouldn't say asterisk he was overweight by 3 to 4 pounds. It would show that he lost. And at this point, I think Wonderboy more cares about records and legacy and getting back to the title than a fight purse. White also suggests that Wonderboy do a quick turnaround fight, but that would also be bad as he did cut to 170 and then he would have to do it all over again in possibly 2 weeks, which would be extra hard on his body. So what do we know? Since Wonderboy turned down the fight with Pereira and also turned down a quick turnaround fight, Dana White says he's not going to even be getting his show money. Also that he might get only the money that he spent on the camp. Cory Sandhagen has a conversation with Ariel Helwani via Zoom where they discuss his recent fight with Rob Font, where he predominantly grappled and didn't strike that much. A fight where most of the fans were booing and were visibly upset at the grappling competition.
I feel like I would have just been handing over like a giant advantage over to Rob had I just kept it standing, because the gap of me and Rob Font's grappling is so wide.
Sandhagen tells Ariel that the reason why he predominantly grappled and didn't strike too much is because he was injured during the fight. During the first round, he suffered a tricep tear.
But about 3 or 4 weeks before the fight, I was on like a bunch of antibiotics. Like having an infection in your elbow can sometimes like weaken the joint and weaken stuff in there. So I'm assuming that that's why, the tricep tore that easy, is because I don't recall any specific thing that like was so intense in that first round where it would tear like that. So
Sandhagen expresses the fact that his grappling is above and beyond that of Font. I do believe that if you do excel in one department over your opponent, you should use that to expose glaring issues in their defense or in their striking or their grappling. There's no reason for Sandhagen to continue to strike with Rob Font if he does not need to, if his grappling is that much more better. It's not as entertaining for general public, but it is about winning the fight in the end, since he did have a major injury that he will need rehab and a possible surgery that will have him out of the fight game for 6 months. It was in the best to do that at that time. But most people can't see that. The casual fans don't care. They want to see a bloodbath.
Nashville, I wanted to put a more exciting fight on. I've been dealing with a lot of elbow problems recently. I think I tore my tricep in the first round. I know, boo away, I'm sorry. It was technical as hell. I'm a wrestler now a little bit, so sorry. Sterling O'Malley, I'll see you guys in Boston. I got next.
Son of a bitch. I don't even know when this happened.
Ariel Helwani asked Sandhagen if he knew that Dana White left after the 4th round. Sandhagen confirms he did notice president of the UFC, Dana White, leaving, but he suggests that it's possibly due to many reasons. It's not due because people were booing or because the fight was quote unquote boring. But Sandhagen did say that he spoke to Dana White and told him right away about his injury, that his elbow and his tricep were injured. He did not want Dana White to think that he was just putting on a boring performance for no reason or stalling out, or did not want to try striking with Rob Font. He knows that this is predominantly an entertainment business and a sports and combat fighting business, but you do have to put on a show while you're out there, and Dana White will let you know if he thinks that you did not put on a good performance.